Hello. This is a short tutorial about the instructor account for SimFormer Business Simulation. Now, as most probably you have guessed, this tutorial is for the trainers and for business trainers and educators that will be managing their own groups. Now, as some of you most probably have already purchased or have a choice, is that most probably you'll be accessing the SBS Classic Academia as a product or one of the products. Usually the access works the same way. As you enter the simulation through the link, you will end up in the SimFormer Business Simulation, already in the simulation. And if you have noticed, there is additional tab right here in the center, in the upper menu, called Training. So basically, if you want to access it during the your training, you have to click on it. You will have a list of active simulations as well as the archive of ended simulations. So let's first of all go to the list of active simulations as such. As you can see, there's already a list of the groups that I have already in LMS as well. So if there is a group in the LMS, in SimFormer LMS, you can find it here in the simulation as well. So let's say we can go for demo 2 group and see the 12 students that are there. So by simply clicking, as you already remember, that everything that is in blue in our simulation, that's a link, and we can see that the mouse reacts. So that's a link, and we can drop into the demo 2 group and also see what's happening here. What you can see here is a list of companies. So we have student 2 and the asset value of his or her virtual company. Naturally, if we go a little bit lower, you'll see the other companies. But as you can see, most of them are at 10 million, which means they're hardly even started playing. So these two are actually, well, one of my companies, and that's the coach account, and that's me. And there's also the student 2 that is being played or has been playing actively or performing at this point. But right now the company is idle. That means there's almost no performance. Initially, whenever you're here, the main thing that if you want to check what kind of starting template is given for the students during the training, you can track it here under subgroup, because you see there's a plus sign right here. And if you click it, you'll see the default subgroup, which is right now. We don't have any subgroups as it is. It says the main group as we have been chosen. And also you can see the template that's been being used for this specific group. So it's default settings plus independent suppliers. In order to change the template that you want to be used for the training, you have to click on Restart. And as you can see, well, in the nearest conversion or calculation, the new template would be applied. So what you have to do is choose from the list. As you can see, the list is quite big. Different templates work differently. And they are slightly different if we speak about the SBS Classic or SBS Intensive. Definitely, these simulations differ, so naturally the templates also differ a bit, but the main idea behind the business games is still the same. So whenever you're choosing a balanced retail or budget retail or cloth road or corporation distress or heavy steel or any others, they should be quite similar, even with certain small changes. Now, as mentioned, if you choose to restart the group with a different scenario, for example, risky business, that's one of the new ones, with startup, or shoemaker, you will have to click on restart all subgroups of the current group with selected settings, considering that you're choosing to work with all the group, right? And then you're not dividing the group into different subgroups. So the main idea is to choose this specific, the lower button here. So this is that's this one here. So that's the one if you want to make a restart. Now, if you want to talk about the, I will tell you about the subgroups the other time. That's a different topic. But the main idea is how does the main functionality of the restart works. So you choose a specific scenario and click on restart all subgroups of the current group with selected settings. So if you click on something like this, there's a message that will pop out, and it will say restart of subgroup, or all subgroups of the group individually selected. Student assumes that in the nearest conversion, current students' assets will be removed, and they will start the simulation again. Well, shortly, it's a question I is sure to continue, because that means that everything that was done previously will be deleted, and the student will start anew. So you have to be careful with this thing. Right now I will click cancel, and that means I'm still at default settings plus independent. If you choose to apply a new template, it will change right away here. Now be sure to be careful and ask for the restart only once. Sometimes the system can react, well, sensitively to multiple restarts. So I would recommend choose to make it once, and to be sure when exactly you're doing it. And if you are a group of teachers that are sharing the same account, please be sure who makes the restart, and not to make it well, multiple times. Now, about the progress. Naturally, what you can do also to end the training. So this is the button. Please don't press on it if you're not sure that you want to end the training. And as you can see, you can track all the list of students. Sometimes even if they're online, you can see that. The main idea is that as well as the ratings, they will see the ratings the same way as the students do. But if you have more groups, as for example, as I do right now, you will be given a list of training of groups to track the ratings. As you can see, there it is, and we can see that some of the training groups right now are not even active. So that's quite a problem. Now, but these two are actually, yeah, this we can see that one main student 2, is actually quite active and doing well, and we can track other groups as well if it's happening and you are. For example, you want to change. We see that this student is not doing anything, so that's quite a problem. But either way, yeah, so nothing is happening on these groups. Well, they're empty, so you can see the number of participants as well. Either way, going to come back to this group. Now, there's additional functionality. As a teacher, what you can do actually. As a teacher, if you go a little bit deeper, just to see how exact student performs, what you can do is see the company of the student right away. The difference is that actually all the participants, students including, can actually see their competitors. But as a teacher, you have a lot more information compared to the students. Specifically, what you can see the financial reports. This is not visible to the. This is not exactly visible to other students, so it's only you. You can see the revenues, expenses, profits. So as you can see, this is literally the same thing that you would see in your own company. So this is a general report, and you can see the essential expense structure, asset structure, inventory, and supply. So if you want to see any specific problems, actually you can even see them right away right here. Also track the company products, what kind of things this exact company has been doing. And in subdivisions, you can actually see a little bit more information compared to the students, because students see only one tab with the very short info, while you can actually see a lot more info, as exactly what is the number of departments, number of employees, naturally salary, expenses, qualification, if there are any, financial reports of this specific business unit, trade hall, and the situation. A lot more info about the sales volumes, purchases, over last week, last virtual week, as well as what is happening in stock, what kind of quality of the good is there, purchasing price, sales price, market share, as well as city average. So technically, you can actually evaluate the pricing strategy, as well as if there are any specific mistakes already there, you can track them and talk to that student specifically right away if that is necessary. Or simply, if you want to evaluate the performance, you can actually see what kind of mistakes being made by this specific student in a specific business unit. So that's about the store. If we go to another business unit, for example, a restaurant, so we can track that info here as well. So as you can see, a lot more information compared to the other students. As a teacher, you have a lot more info to analyze. Now, naturally, I would recommend to not to disclose this info to be more well, because in some cases, this info would give some additional advantage to the students, competing students. So be a little bit more discreet with the info that you receive. Now, naturally, overall, so that is the basic structure of the the training, the instructor account, and the training management, roughly what you can see here. Naturally, in the process, if you have received the licenses and you're willing to change certain scenarios or, well, to apply for different groups, that's exactly what you can do. The students will be already there. Usually students are already there in the group, in the LMS. So in this case, what you can do here is simply restart or change the scenario of the game. Or actually can use the same scenario, but then you will still need to choose the same scenario. For example, here I have default settings plus independent suppliers, which means if I want to restart it once again, I choose the same scenario and I have to click on restart all subgroups of the current group with selected settings. If you want to see a little bit more information about the specific template, I would recommend to actually open it. And there's a new tab that will open. That's coaching settings, and that's information about the specific template that is being used for this specific group or default subgroup. So technically, what you can see here is the scenario. And you can actually see, well, the scenario or the template that is being used for the starting conditions that are being used for specific business game. You can actually here see the whole list of various scenarios, but you can track what are being given advantages or possibilities when you start a specific business game. So in the default settings, default plus independent, what you can see here is the list of starting scenarios. So these are starting conditions like balanced retail. I mean, the student here under these conditions will have a possibility to choose one out of the whole list. So naturally, you can track the starting template. Also, you can see what kind of business units being enabled for that student to actually to work with as he or she develops the virtual company. In certain cases, in certain scenarios, everything is available. In certain scenarios, only partially only part of the business units are available, depending on the scenario, on things that you or you wish to work with. Now, naturally, available countries is the same thing. Either all of them are available or only part of this, depending on the scenario. If we move on later on, we can also see the global settings, which means it's the selling goods modes. Is this group closed or is it open? As well, if we go a little bit deeper, we can also see the independent suppliers that were created specifically for this group, and independent suppliers are accessible only for the group of the training group, specific training group that is using this starting scenario. Now, another important moment is that depending on the starting scenario or template, your position or your conditions as teacher also might actually change, which means there are certain scenarios that involve you or your specific actions as well. Meaning, if for example, you might receive a certain amount of cash, you might also receive additional business units specifically to act as a supplier or a buyer, a wholesale buyer from the students. So that means that involves one of the ways that you will be affecting the economical environment of your students. So before choosing template, be sure to know what kind of conditions are there and what exactly you will be working with. In short, that concludes the basic structure and basic tutorial of the instructor account. Specifically, how to use the basic functions. Naturally, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I will definitely answer them. If there are any specific questions that will appear a lot more often, I will create an additional tutorial. That concludes this initial tutorial, and good luck, and thank you for your attention.